Hello, everybody. It's Friday, and it's time for another Security Token Show. We're your hosts. I'm Herwig Konings, joined, as always, by my co-host, Kyle Sonlin. We're here to bring you the latest and greatest tokenization news. Wow, it's obviously a crazy week for the crypto market. It's a crazy week for the future. We got a lot of great interviews on the show today. We got a lot of great news to talk about and some guests, Kyle. But man, how are you feeling?
I am feeling good. It's been quite a week here in the United States, and I think there's a lot of great things to talk about, Herwig. We have a packed show. We've got some interviews. We've got Nico joining us. I can't wait to dive into all of it and just start ripping about everything U.S. and everything international.
You make it sound like something big happened here in the United States. I guess I
think the listeners are waiting with bated breath.
Let's dive right into it with the market movements. And joining us this week for the market movements out of Dubai, our regular guest contributor, Nico Pantelis, a partner at Blue Bay Ventures, a very prominent leading RWA VC firm. Nico, great to have you on this week for a momentous episode.
Guys, how are we doing? What a week. Huh?
Ooh, what a week. What a week.
Oh God.
I know we want to dive right into the election news, and I'm sure our viewers want to hear specifically how this matters and what we predict this will impact the RWA industry specifically. But before we do, I do want to ask everybody that's watching, that enjoys this show, that's excited to dive in, please take a moment, like our episode, give us a subscribe if you haven't, share it if you can. It would mean a lot to me and Kyle and everybody else on the team. So please support us where you can. But with that, Nico, I'm going to hand the floor over to you in terms of any major thoughts regarding the election coming from an outsider, right? You are not an American citizen. And it'd be interesting to see what your thoughts are before Kyle and I think, give our, angle to what we think is happening over here, stateside.
Yes. So for me, it's one of the big moments we will remember in crypto history. It still has to happen, of course, all of what Trump has promised to our industry, but it's a lot. And if only half of it comes true, and he pulls it forward, then the US will open up to this industry that we have been working in for many years and getting on track, like, big parts of the world in Asia and the Middle East where I am. Everybody is accepting Bitcoin more and more in their lives, and it's time that the US joins our party, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think there's two things that we can say seem pretty likely at this point, and then kind of evaluate those ripple effects, and then maybe explore how what the more fringe or long shot style, long-term style of solutions are. I think for sure what we're probably going to see is a reduction in the litigation from the SEC. It does seem like Gary Gensler is probably going to be replaced by somebody that is likely a bit less litigious with respect to the US-based companies. There has been so much rhetoric around fostering US innovation. I would be surprised to see if the same level of vigor in terms of regulation by enforcement is still maintained. And so I think that that's going to significantly reduce the regulatory capture risk that US-based firms, or at least firms looking to break into the US, are going to have to see, which will potentially create a lot of interesting innovation and ripple effects there. It also should reduce the legal burden of getting things done here in the United States. The other side is that we're already seeing a lot of rhetoric from Cynthia Loomis and from other people around Bitcoin adoption inside of the US. And so there are rumblings around a strategic Bitcoin reserve inside of the US, which, funny enough, they kind of already have. The US is, at this point, the largest sovereign nation owning Bitcoin. I believe the number is about 0.98% of the total supply of Bitcoin is still owned by the United States. Trump has talked about releasing Ross Ulbricht, the infamous individual from the Silk Road case, and pardoning the individual.
On day one, he said, on day one, we're going to do it.
We'll see some of these things and if they actually come to market. But it does seem that there is a lot of focus around Bitcoin specifically as a crypto and its impacts in the in inflation and in monetary policy. So I think that those will be some of the initial things that we should expect to see some changes and growth to. Herwig, how do you see it playing out?
Oh, no, I think that's all right. From the macro perspective, if we have strategic reserve, if we just stop auctioning what we already have, like you pointed out, if we start actually buying on top of that, that's a whole new signal for the crypto industry, for Bitcoin in itself. Obviously, legislation now with what looks like to be a very favorable, Congress for Trump. This is going to make it presumably easier, and what it comes down to is the right language to get passed, to give us that clarity that we need. It's obviously a definite that Trump is going to be out, but I want to, remind people that Gary is still there, and it is possible for him to leave office with a couple more chaos grenades, if you will.
He has been kicking and screaming the last weeks. He has been sending out the
guy that goes out silently into the night. No, sir. No, and we have to remember that Jay Clayton also was the one who actually filed Ripple right before he left office, right? So I wouldn't be surprised that if in the next couple of months we still see a couple of missiles get sent out by our current chair, if you will. But that's absolutely going to change. The regulation by enforcement, I totally agree, is going to change. And what I think this means for the RWA industry is just, again, that clarity that a lot of folks have needed on the TradFi side. There's a lot of problems with SAB 121 and other things that could go away. But ultimately, it still comes down to bridging the gap between crypto natives and RWAs. And I really think this cycle, that's also going to change. I think RWAs are finally a concept that everybody agrees is good for DeFi if we can figure out how to bridge in, on-chain property, on-chain stocks, on-chain commodities. People want that in their portfolio as long as they can stay on-chain and it's seamless. And I think we're going to get there if the right regulation falls in place in the United States. And this is my kicker to it, guys, is that Trump has his own stable coin, right? So if you've seen how he acts in the past, it's pretty safe to say his interests are usually supported. And he now has an interest not only in supporting crypto as he's been promising, but also because he actually also has a stable coin. So I think for all those reasons, RWAs are going to be poised for massive success thanks to this. And he has that DJT DeFi, real estate lending platform or whatever that they launched before the election.
This is for me the biggest thing that Kyle, you mentioned that this is a Bitcoin oriented or focused operation, but in my opinion, and you saw that also from the DeFi tokens this week, it is a DeFi inclusion operation. So we will see the incorporation of RWAs, our favorite asset in the space, included in all these decentralized operations. We just need the regulatory clarity. That's what's been missing all this time. Brokers don't know what to do. Exchanges don't know what to do. And the list goes on and on. Even some people who tokenize have problems with rules here and there. So the segment needs clarity. And I think that's what's going to come with Trump. And it will be big and beautiful, guys. It's just going to be so beautiful, in my opinion.
The GOAT bull run. I think it's coming.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, we have a lot of other great news and an amazing interview with Ludovico from Brickken coming up here with Jason. So we're going to go ahead and get right into it.
Well, welcome everyone to a Security Token Show interview. This week we have Ludovico Rossi from Brickken joining us. Ludovico, how are you today?
Hi, Jason. How are you? All good. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. There's some exciting news coming from the Brickken team. You guys were recently announced as an official partner for BnB Chain in terms of tokenizing RWAs. Tell us a little bit about that partnership, how that got conceived, and where you guys are going.
Yeah, sure. So actually, we are pretty much excited, actually, because it's finally like another big players that is, counting with us. Definitely with Binance was a good experience. We integrated their chain already months ago, but finally they decided actually to launch on their official BnB Chain page some suggestion of protocols and solutions, decentralized application that can help into tokenization, no? Because now RWA is a big narrative, no? A big trend coming up. So definitely they've been scouting different solution, and we ended being one of the favorites from them. So yeah, happy to be there. If you guys go on the BnB Chain website, you can definitely see different options there, and there is like a really good guide on how you can tokenize on Binance Smart Chain, actually.
Very nice.
Using Brickken technology.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that breakdown. And, we noticed that there are other partners as well. We saw Bitbond, yourselves, a couple others. Tell us a little bit about what sets Brickken apart and how you guys are a value add for BnB.
Okay, so first of all, we have one of the biggest TVL on BnB Chain at the moment in RWA. You can check on the Filama, this data. So that's one of the reasons they choose us. But also on the other hand, it's because we definitely have a really easy to use platform. We focus ourselves a lot on user experience in order to facilitate this mass adoption that everybody is waiting for, right? So yeah, this easy to use and ease of using our technology in order to issue assets, because literally you can do it in minutes and anybody can do it, okay? Even not blockchain savvy users. So this is the cool thing, I think, that they saw and that they wanted to bring on their network and promote a little bit more.
Got it. So there's like a no-code solution. If I'm an issuer that's looking to tokenize, let's say, a fund through your platform and specifically on BnB Chain, walk me through the process of, how I'm going to go about this without hiring a developer. What's the no-code way to do this?
Okay, cool. So basically, of course, we offer like a guide. So our team is receiving you, really understanding what is your need, and afterwards we will proceed with it. Okay, we have this no-code solution where the same issuer is the one that is generating the asset. Okay, there is no one doing nothing. So basically, it's just like the experience filling a form. So after sign up, you have just to fill and put the name of the token, the ticker, the logo, connect your wallet. That will be the owner of the smart contract. And then you can just set if you want or not a limited supply, okay? Depends on the contract, the financial instrument you want to issue, no? Because with us, we are focused on tokenizing equity, debt, loan and bonds, credit, or future revenue, okay? So out of this, there are different characteristics. So you have just to choose if you want a limited supply or not. If you are tokenizing a company, for example, you can pre-issue this digital shares and you can already send it to the owners, okay? Let's say that me and you are sharing a company and now we issue these digital shares. We already distribute to ourselves, but then we are able to enter in the dashboard. Another simple form will be there. Of course, we have to upload the legal documents. Brickken always help everyone with the partners ecosystem we count with. Why? Right? So we have more than 150 partners, law firms and marketing. So you're completely covered when you have, we're talking about distribution or issuing legal documents, right? And once we have the legal documents, it's really easy. In a matter of minutes, you can generate an offer. So again, you are in full control with all the parameters. So how many tokens you're putting on sale, the period, the soft cap and hard cap, for example, the token price, and then also the minimum ticket you will accept, because we can put a token price of €1, $1, but then of course a minimum investment that is $1K, for example, or $100. No? And afterwards, you simply go back and through the dashboard, the same. Even my mom can do it. You just upload images, upload the white paper, write and fill all the sessions, session by session. You can activate or deactivate a different session. And when you publish this page, you will get a unique URL talking about your project. So it's a proper landing page, okay, with your project where the people can register, pass the KYC, ask for a waitlist, and invest. So in a few steps, as you can see, it's really streamlined. Anyone can issue an asset, but also generate a place where the people can invest. And for the investor, it's way easier.
Awesome. Great walkthrough there. It seems, like you're pulling in different aspects to a tokenization process all within the Brickken platform and connecting people to do it. Now, there's plenty of tokenization platforms out there to be honest. So I do want to dive into, an actual use case for Brickens. And I know you guys are highlighting with this announcement the Hydrokken token. They're a clean energy tokenization project here. So I'm assuming that they use the same process you just described. Tell us about the project itself and why they chose, BnB Chain in this case to be their, blockchain of choice, and what they're really aiming to gain from tokenizing their assets.
Okay, so basically this Hydrokken tokenization, it's interesting because it's coming from a public company, okay, in Canada. They are owner of the biggest hydrogen space land, let's say, okay, out there. So basically they have a huge potential in growing, no, because they have free hydrogen and they can generate. Okay, so based on this, a shareholder of them had a big position in Hydro Energy, that is the public company actually, and decided to tokenize his own portfolio, right? So now he put on the BnB Chain this digitized stocks actually that they are actually traded out there, but he has it in his own portfolio. So now you can get access to those shares in his portfolio through this tokenization. For example, he just wanted to demonstrate that he can really bring his community, because this guy is one of the best traders. Okay, he even won an award of best traders in the world, I think, some years ago. But the thing is that he really wanted to bring on the train his community. And what a better way than tokenized shares, and if you click, getting that. So this was the reason why.
Interesting. So kind of like a key opinion leader that's tokenizing actual portfolio shares here. Really interesting. And you mentioned this kind of a base case. Do you see them using you guys again and expanding it to more shares of that public company or of a separate project? What does that look like for the foreseeable future?
With Brickken, we already count with 50 plus clients. Okay, actually the demand spiked a lot during this year, and we expect beautiful growth next year as well. The market is really getting ready, and also, as you are saying, there is a huge demand nowadays in being and offering a tokenization service, right? So actually in Brickken, we are not just developing this platform. This was the phase 1 of Brickken, but now we are going also for white label and APIs, because we are building literally the backbone of the tokenization infrastructure of that out there. So anyone can now really jumping on the BnB chain with his own technology, his own business, backed by the Brickken technology, and run different tokenization there. So we expect to grow in direct clients for sure, BnB and also other chain, because we are multi-chain. But then, of course, also bringing other new businesses there as tokenizers. So as people that is offering a tokenization service. And BnB actually, this new lead generation channel that they allow us to build together with them is actually really interesting. So we expect a lot of SMEs coming in, and let's see, I will tell you next time how it's going.
Well, we expect to see a lot more coming on. BnB has quite the community, so excited to see what's to come on Brickken and the others as well that are partners here. Ludovico, how can people get in touch with you if they want to work with you on your platform?
You can contact with us directly through the website, or you can reach me out on LinkedIn, Ludovico Rossi. We are really responsive, so always there and active, ready to tokenize something cool.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Really exciting what you guys are working on here. And like I said, excited to see what else comes through your doors as we close out the year here. And of course, jump into 2025, which we feel is going to be a great year for tokenization, as the previous segment kind of talked about. But with that, thank you for joining us, Ludovico. We'll be going on to the next section of the show.
Thank you, Jason. And for sure, we'll bring also good news from the European sandbox, because there is really hot stuff coming up. So stay tuned. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, STO Market and the Security Token Show. Bye.
Wow, that is some awesome stuff happening over there with Brickken and over there with Binance. You know, the future is bright with RWAs. Thank you to Ludovico for coming on the show. But Kyle, we have some more news. Once again, there's just way too much to cover. So we're just going to kind of fire up some articles that we each want to talk about. So I'm curious to hear what's on your docket here.
Herwig, well, look, names are hard. Branding is difficult.
Yeah.
That being said, I like to think of myself as an objective actor. And my first article here is talking about the latest rebrand in the crypto industry. And this is an institutional player that is really leaning in to the, let's say, Web3 crypto DeFi angle. And that is JP Morgan, a former Company of the Year award winner, is rebranding their Onyx platform, doing billions and billions of dollars in transactions. It is no longer Onyx. Instead, it is now Kinexys, Kinexys, Kinexys. And so they said here in their article, as transaction volumes grow with our existing clients, the same goes for new clients that have chosen Kinexys. They are doing cross-border payments, they are tokenizing assets, and seamlessly and exchanging and validating financial data. So they do mention tokenizing assets specifically. They are all on board with tokenization itself. That being said, Herwig, Kinexys, and now their Kinexys Digital Payments, which was JPM Coin, that is now being rebranded to Kinexys Digital Payments. They also have Kinexys Digital Assets and Kinexys Labs. So they are going all in on this Kinexys brand. I'm super bullish on JPM, but not bullish on the name.
Stop saying that word. It's not, I don't even like hearing it. I'm sorry, it's not a good rebrand. I loved Onyx. I don't know if it was like a legal trademark situation or whatever, led to this idea. But, personally, Kyle, it's just a personal opinion. Kinexys is not resonating with me. And this is after Twitter to X. This is after Maker to Sky. Onyx to Sky. It's like, what is going on? What is going on? What's going on, everybody? Well, anyway, STM is staying STM.
That's for sure. So that is that's the big rebrand of the day, and it does go to show branding is hard. I wonder how much the consultants were paid to come up with Kinexys. But Herwig, next article, please take it away.
Well, this next one may not surprise you, but I got to bring it up because, at this point, it's almost kind of like an easy bet. But, we continue to predict week after week now that once again, before the end of the year, you're going to see another major institution announce, projects related to money market funds, right? And so this is no surprise now that we got yet another one here with Citi and Fidelity International. And actually, with their tokenized money market fund, they actually say they directly embedded foreign exchange swaps within the blockchain. So if you're curious about that, this is part of the Project Guardian trials. So they are obviously releasing a lot of this information regarding this. But again, the future is bright, reinventing finance with the Lego pieces, the foundational bricks that we need, which is cash and money market funds and yield, treasury yields, right? These three are all getting tokenized. It's a very exciting narrative within RWAs that's going to keep growing throughout next year, Kyle. And, I think it's pretty safe for me to predict once again that there will be still another big announcement about a tokenized money market fund before the end of the year is up, likely by a new player that, I'm very, very excited to just continue to see the competition grow, because it's just going to lead to more adoption, right, Kyle, and better products. So what do you think about it?
Yeah, another money market fund. You called this one, Herwig, and we certainly have been seeing major adoption as so many of these firms have digital assets in their treasury. They want to get yield on it. It's just as simple as that. Rates were cut by 25 bips yesterday. And so we did talk about this last week on the show. I'm interested to see how that trend continues and what that means for money markets, because obviously as rates come down, money markets are a little bit less attractive for the average consumer. But I still think that this is a super great use case. And with every bank getting involved, it really does, I think, solidify the opportunity for the market. And this is a killer use case for crypto.
No, I totally agree. What else is on your docket?
Well, we have Trade Estate. This is a local South Florida real estate tokenization, Herwig. Anybody that disagrees with the idea that Miami is the crypto capital of the US is just flat out wrong. We had Black Salmon. We had many other different real estate tokenizations like Nolan Reynolds from a year or two ago. Now we have Trade Estate Group, which is taking their property. It's a residential building called Ascend Aventura, and they are going to be tokenizing it. So they are enabling fractional ownership, and they are hopefully building towards future liquidity in the tokens. This is here, right in the middle of South Florida, right adjacent to Miami. It is in the Miami-Dade County. And so this is really exciting to see that just Miami presents this huge opportunity for real estate issuers to tokenize their properties. And so I just wanted to give them a huge shout out. They recognized all of the benefits we talk about here about tokenization, specifically fractionalization, transparency, global accessibility, and then that kind of flexibility around liquidity moving forward. So I just really wanted to shout out Trade Estate for taking that opportunity, taking the risk of bringing technology into the real estate space.
Well, I can't disagree with any of that, Kyle. And I believe Miami will be one of the most tokenized cities for sure. Even though I think Detroit right now might actually have that title thanks to Realty. But
yeah, they did a lot of heavy lifting there.
Yeah. No, and it's proper projects like this that will show other folks down here in real estate in Miami that it's like, wow, if they're successful, it's going to lead to other people mimicking what they do. So I'm excited for them. I hope they do well. I do slightly disagree that they say they're in the center of Miami. But, Aventura is great. It looks like a great building. Again, not investment advice, do your own research. But it's great to see just more of these projects get activated, because I feel like maybe there's been a little bit of a lull over the past couple of years. And I think we're going to start to see a heck of a lot of more announcements like this. Also totally using StoBox, by the way. StoBox.
Ah. Shout out to StoBox. They're friends of the show.
Absolutely. Well, Kyle, the last there was a lot of good stuff out there. But, actually you made a comment that kind of blew me away, which is that the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF is now officially bigger than their gold ETF. Is that right?
That is correct. The net assets as of November 7th, yesterday, the Bitcoin ETF was 33.1 billion to gold's 32.9 billion. You can see this graphic here that was created by Bitcoin Archive. I found on Twitter, so major shout out to them for putting this together. But it did kind of blow up everywhere because BlackRock, I think, added like billions of dollars of Bitcoin over the last week alone since the presidential election. They have been buying Bitcoin at a huge rate. We did some napkin math, and $33 billion of Bitcoin is about 2.2% of the total market cap of Bitcoin. But considering what half of it is probably lost, not for sale, in treasuries, all that kind of stuff, like it's probably close to 5% of the circulating float of Bitcoin is now owned by BlackRock in really only a short period of time. So this is just, I think, mind-blowing stuff from the Bitcoin ETF.
I just did a quick search on the size of the gold ETFs market, and it's the second biggest gold ETF, Kyle, by BlackRock. So that is a huge sign for Bitcoin. Obviously, we have a lot of other ETFs right behind it as well. I think people talking about that day we can beat the gold market cap with Bitcoin, right? That day it flips it. It seems more and more possible with big milestones like this. That's crazy to see.
Yeah. And so I think the largest one is GLD. I think it's about $75 billion. So Bitcoin is about halfway to the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF is about halfway to that GLD market size, which again, in theory, that could, you could reach that both in terms of increasing the supply of Bitcoin in the fund, as well as just if Bitcoin's price doubles, right? Like Bitcoin's at 75, 76K, Bitcoin hits 150K and BlackRock changes nothing. And it is basically at that size. So that is the interesting thing about the Bitcoin, is that with the parabolic price changes, that can certainly skew these AUM numbers pretty significantly and very quickly.
Yeah, seeing this, it makes it more and more believable that it is possible for gold to be flipped by Bitcoin one day. But that's all my takeaway. That was just a very cool comment. Lots of other great stuff happening in the space. We don't have too much more time left, so we're just going to have to cover them in our companies of the week, aren't we, Kyle?
No, I think let's do it, Herwig.
Well, it's that time of the episode where we have to come up with one of the most difficult challenges of the week, really, which is picking a company of the week, one of the most coveted awards, illustrious, amazing. Kyle always does a much better job hyping it up than I do, but we just want to highlight, who we thought personally made the best moves in the week this week, right? Who deserves the spotlight? And it does put you in the running for company of the year. So you have to at least have won once throughout the past year to potentially win the 2024 crown, which it's not too far away now, Kyle, that we're going to have to making that decision, which is easily maybe the hardest decision we have to make all year in our lives. But it's a crazy competition. It's been a crazy year. There's a lot happening. I'm really curious, Kyle, who are you bestowing your Company of the Week award to?
Well, Herwig, I am a fan of competitive markets. I think that competition is a great thing because it's the most meritocratic way to find the truth. And in this case, my Company of the Week winner is a competitor in the regulated stablecoin industry. I wanted to give my Company of the Week to the Global Dollar Network, the collection between Anchorage Digital, the regulated financially chartered bank, a business called Bullish, Galaxy Digital, who is a huge institutional market maker, as well as Brickken, a large exchange, Nuvei, and Paxos, one of the larger commodities and stablecoin tokenization providers, as well as Robinhood. And they've all come together to launch USDG, which is the newest regulated stablecoin, is based out of Singapore and it's compliant there. And they are looking to compete directly with regulated stablecoins around the world. And they have goals to have a dynamic and equitable model to bring mainstream participants into the ecosystem and accelerate new stablecoin use cases. So this article is definitely a little bit of a promotional announcement. There's not a ton of meat in the article in terms of how they're going to be different. But I just think that this is a really interesting competitor. We know that Coinbase and Circle have been very closely connected for so long. Now we have Galaxy Digital and Bricken's version of a similar style of solution, of course, in partnership with Paxos, Anchorage Digital, Robinhood, and others. I think this is a huge coalition of firms that are very actively getting involved in the crypto space. And if they're launching their own homegrown stablecoin that they're going to be using throughout their network, it looks and feels quite a bit like Connexus from JP Morgan. And we know that that will be adopted at least by JPM in their transactions. And in the same way, Robinhood does so much volume and Galaxy Digital does so much volume that if this becomes their preferred stablecoin, it will very quickly overnight at least capture some semblance of market share, even if they do nothing new innovative. And it sounds like maybe there's some other juice to this squeeze that we'll be able to find out in the coming months. So for all those reasons, Herwig, I love stablecoins. I love competition. And so for that reason, Global Dollar Network, the GDN, is my winner.
I'm extremely bullish on stable coins. No pun intended on this. This is such a great project. I think Paxos is the kind of infrastructure product issuer behind the USDG. This is an amazing lineup of partners. I'm excited to see what it does. Like you said, some competition. So I think it's a worthy award.
Yeah. So that's my exciting winner of the week, Herwig. And how about you? Who's your choice?
Kyle, there was a lot of institutional news as well that we didn't get a chance to really talk about, but it's the typical institutional stuff that you kind of heard it before with a different set of names, whereas I really was inspired by the interview with Brickken. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to Brickken this week, Kyle, as my company of the week, because I love the fact that, one, this no-code concept of being able to do real-world asset tokenization, it highlights exactly why I am also bullish on RWAs in general. The concept of tokenizing an asset is actually really easy, and it will be frictionless. It'll be so fast in the future. So that is I'd love to see that. Also Binance, clearly also a mega influence in the industry, and they are starting to move on RWAs with examples like this. I think they recognize that they were saying as part of their plan to onboard, 1 billion people to crypto. It's RWA tokenization is going to be one of those big trends to help make that happen. So Bricken's been doing a lot of great work. They have the infrastructure ready to tokenize a bunch of different types of assets and securities. And frankly, they already have some live use cases. So I think they're doing all the right things. I wanted to shout that out. I wanted to highlight that. Keep it up, Ludovico and team. And I'm excited to see what more news comes out for Brickken. Congrats.
I think it's a great choice. They've been super active in the industry for years, and we're super proud to be close to them. And I think that's a wonderful choice. They're great people and really understand the ethos of tokenization.
Absolutely. Well, Kyle, that's our show. It's another week on the books, which means we will see you again next week on Friday. We hope you enjoyed the show. Again, if you like what you see, it really helps us if you go and click that like button, subscribe to us so you can stay updated, and of course, give it a share if you can, if you really liked what you saw. We need to spread the gospel of RWAs, everybody. This is the only way to grow the industry and activate what, as we discussed earlier on the episode today, is going to be an exciting time in the industry coming, thanks to the new potential regulation that could come to the U.S. in the next couple of years, with a new SEC chair to already start to encourage builders to start to feel comfortable to once again build in America. So exciting times ahead. And Kyle, any closing thoughts from your end?
If you're going to be in Bangkok for DevCon, hit your boy up and let's network. Would love to connect with anybody that's a show watcher while I'm out there.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, check out stm.co for all your other RWA needs. And I will sign off the show with also saying, if you're going to be at Benzinga, Future of Digital Assets, on the 19th in New York, catch me there. I'll be making a pretty enormous announcement on stage. Can't wait. But that's all I have for you. So everybody, I'm going to tell you, happy tokenizing.